Hello and welcome to the GeniusLab podcast, where we help you realize your greatness. We're having some fun today. No interview today. We're doing a different thing. I want to talk to you about the 5-element birth chart on TobyChristensen.com. And this is really exciting. I've been getting a lot of traction on this because it's a way to tap into the unseen resources that you have available to you that most people are not aware of. We have, astrology readings that tell us about our relationship to the stars, and we have the Myers-Briggs, which is like a psychological evaluation. And then we have this 5-element chart, and there's 2 types of charts that I do. And the first is, I call it an elemental birth chart, which is basically the energy that you came into this lifetime with. And it is about it has 2 aspects. One is actually 3 aspects. One is the energy that you come in with your birth name. Now, when someone gets married or for some reason changes their name, this also changes the energy that you carry at that particular time. So a birth chart's really powerful because it shows you what you came in with. This is, this is how you came out of the womb. This is the energy that you carry. Then as you change your name, you carry a different energy. So in other words, people get married, they take on a maiden name, or they hyphenate their name, or a man might take a woman's family's name or hyphenate, however, it changes the energy. Okay, so the birth chart's what you came in with. The elemental chart is what you carry currently, if your name is different. It's also predicated on the year that you were born, because every year is associated with an element. So, for example, if you were born with a birth year that ends in a 0 or a 5, you were born in an earth year. If your birth year ends in a 1 or a 6, you're water. If it's 2 or 7, it's fire. If it's 3 or 8, you're nature. And if it's 4 or 9, you're mineral. And each of these elements carries an intrinsic energy. And depending on what year you were born, it's what is the innate energy or your natural, if otherwise not trained, what's your go-to? And that's a lot about what your birth element is. Then there's your elemental construct. And this is your name and the energy that your name carries, because your name, now I have met a few people who actually have 0 of certain elements, whether it's birth year or their name, they have 0 of those elements. And there's always a way to fix that, but it doesn't happen very often. So for the most part, everybody carries all the elements to one degree or another. So what these birth charts do is they show you that. I remember dealing with one guy who just thought that he was a loser. He's like, man, I can't ever seem to manifest anything. I can't seem to get any traction in business. My personal life sucks. And, he was really down and out. And when we did his birth chart, he realized that he had a bunch of earth, which earth is nurturing, abundance, welcoming, and home. It's like a team leader energy. The earth people, build the containers to help hold community. And what it did was it ignited in himself this energy that he didn't realize that he carried, and really put him on the map to do some great things. Once he had the permission, once he gave himself permission, and the way he got permission was to realize that he carried that energy in the core of his being. So it's awesome to watch people wake up, and realize their superpowers or their intrinsic energy that they didn't realize they had. I had a thing where I've always felt like I was really unorganized, and although I'm kind of OCD about certain things, and those of you who have had dinner with me know how OCD I am about like kitchens and keeping them clean and keeping the tables clean and washing dishes. And I just have this thing about kitchens. I like to keep them really, really nice and neat, which if I'm ever in a relationship, they're always usually really grateful for because the kitchen's always clean. So anyway, one endearing part. So we in these charts we investigate those three things, and so what you get is you get your birth element. And what I've done is I've created a PDF that's really cool. It takes your birth year, and it gives you the intrinsic energy of that birth year, and then on the next page it shows you how, having that birth year, you relate to others. Okay, so in other words, like, for example, I'm a fire. Fire is inspiration, passion, clear vision, and spiritual connection. So my initial birth write-out would tell me about what a fire person is, what are the characteristics, how their position in society is, how their position in the tribe where this comes from is, and how that associates, how that translates to being here in the modern world. And then it also has how a fire person relates to people of an earth birth year or of a mineral birth year. I remember I had a partner that was mineral, and she was always correcting me, and I got so pissed off because it seemed like no matter what I said, there was always a correction. I was always wrong about stuff. And what I realized years later, after we had broken up, is that, oh, wait a minute, I did her name and she was super mineral. Mineral is about accuracy and telling the story and strategic positioning and creating structure, and it's very rigid. And I'm fire, which is all over the place. I want to just inspire and have fun, and she wants everything to be in a particular manner that unfolds in a predictable way. And I figure jump off the cliff and figure out how you're going to land while you're in the air. So what I realized was she wasn't being a nagging bitch. She was just being a mineral. She just wanted accuracy. And so it was a real eye opener for me. And as I've studied these elements, on my website, you'll find a book called, From Africa to America, which is bringing this information in. And in that book, there's a whole bunch of very deep information about the elements and how they relate to each other. But by knowing that I'm with a mineral person, I know that accuracy is really important. I know that structure is really important. If I'm with a nature person, nature is magic and transformation. I know that this person is going to be more like me in terms of they just want to go with the flow. They want to make things happen. Whatever's going to transform the situation from where it is to where we want it to be. How it doesn't have to make sense. We don't necessarily even have to have a strategy. Just let's start messing with things until something happens. And that can be dangerous, but it can also be really fun. So that just gives you a basic example of what this does. And so that's the first thing you get, your birth element and how that affects you and how that relates to other people. The second thing is the third thing. So the first thing is your birth element. Second thing is how it relates to other people. The third thing is your elemental construct. And this is your name. The letters of your name translates into digits. And each of the digits, it has a value in terms of being in relationship with a particular element. Okay. And so it's not like numerology where you add things up. So let's say a letter in your name is the 12th letter of the alphabet, whatever that is. It's not a 3. Like in numerology, you would say, 1 and 2 is a 3. It's a 1, which is water, and it's 2, which is fire. So you have one water digit and one fire digit. So when we get done with analyzing your name in this capacity, we take all the digits and they show you, number one, there are masculine and there are feminine digits, which represent the yin and the yang energy. Then you also have The elemental energy, you have fire, which is inspiration, passion, clear vision, and spiritual connection. Water, which is healing and reconciliation. Earth, which is nurturing, abundance, welcoming home. You have mineral, which is real remembering. It's about memory. It's about remembering your greatness. It's about creating the story that you desire to create. And it's about connecting to your life's purpose and then creating a structure or a mechanism by which that can be accomplished. And then you have nature, which is magic and transformation. So you have a number of these different things, and the number of digits that correlate to the elements shows how much of each element you have. So you can have a birth element of, let's say, fire, and it can appear that you maybe have 1 fire in your name and 10 waters, but because your birth element has so much fire in it, it compensates for that. On the other hand, it could also be if you're a water birth here and you have way more water than fire, that your ratio is out of balance and you have to do some things, some rituals, and there's some things that you can set up in your life to boost your fire energy, and there are things you can avoid to diminish increasing your water. The beauty of this system is that where there is a challenge or a problem or a difficulty, there's always a solution. So there's always a way to make it come into balance. So I remember getting a reading of a particular kind, and I forget, it was an astrology reading of some sort. And the guy says, listen, you're going to have really intense hardship for the next 5 years because whatever, Jupiter is going around Saturn or something. Yeah, I don't know anything about astrology, but that's what he said. For 5 years, it's going to be really challenging. I said, well, what can I do about it? He said, well, just be aware. Well, I don't want to be stuck by some planetary revolution around some other planet, and that has a effect on me, or that can diminish me in some way. I want to be able to do something about it. And the thing that I love about this 5-element system, I call it the Dagara System because it comes from the Dagara tribe in Burkina Faso, West Africa. And the thing about it is that there is always a way to rebalance the energy so that you don't have to endure problematic situations for long periods of time or even short periods of time. You can do things and things start to shift right away. I've had people change their names. I've had people de-hyphenate their names. I've had people hyphenate their names. It's fun because when you consciously construct your name, you can design it to hold the energy that you desire to hold. And if you don't like it, you can change it. So it's a powerful, the tribe that this comes from was very, very old and until recently has been untouched by the modern world. But unfortunately in the last couple of decades, or last decade for sure, it has very, very much been deconstructed by the modern world, and it's unfortunate to see the tribal, the ways that these people have lived for thousands of years be dismantled. I fortunately was able to study with Malidoma Somé, who's from that tribe, and he and I were friends for almost 30 years, and he had a profound impact in my life, and we were good buddies. But he passed a lot of that information on and a lot of that wisdom on to many people here in the United States. And it's important to keep that this energy alive. This particular birth chart is work that I created with Malidoma, and the interpretation has been Westernized, because there's different values and different ways of looking at things when you're in that middle of the Sahara Desert. So it's been really exciting to create this Dagara system, and the whole system starts with these elemental charts, and then you can go into a cowrie shell reading to get clarity and direction for what the chart says and from help you to get from where you are to where you want to be. And then the third thing is using the 5-element rhythms in a or a soundtrack that helps to move the energy that you carry. It's an assisting power that shifts your energy from where you are to where you want it to be. Because, of course, everything about our life is about the frequency or about the energy that we carry. As we change that energy, we're able to change the position of who we are, where we are, how we respond, how we emotionally calculate things. And so the beauty of this system is that it helps you realize who you really are. It helps you get clarity and build confidence and navigate what's coming. And then it gives you the ability to shift energy. So powerful, powerful system for transformation. And the place to start, and I've used this as a very entry level opening the door. If you haven't had experience with this, the elemental birth charts are really powerful. And it's a good place to start. Go to tobychristensen.com, check it out, see what kind of energy you really carry. Truly, what's your go-to energy? And where are your superpowers? This gives you a look from a different perspective, from a 5-element perspective, so that you can be the best you possible and move forward to having and creating the best life you could possibly have. So let me know when you're ready. Go to tobychristensen.com and you'll see the links to check it out. Check out the 5-element birth charts. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. I hope you enjoy it. Next podcast, I'm going to talk about team elemental charts and how we can do an elemental chart for each of your team members and then do an elemental chart for your company so that you see where the energy is and where the hidden nuggets of treasure are hidden so that you can become bigger, better, and accomplish what you want more efficiently. That's it. I hope you have a great day and remember your greatness.